talk about it now with a couple of people who have watched these campaigns. Mary Catherine Ham is the editor-at-large of HotAir.com, also a Fox News contributor. Simon Rosenberg, the president and founder of the New Democrat Network, a former Clinton campaign advisor. So you heard Governor Romney there in Florida. Florida has had its share of misery. I mean, I was living there when Hurricane Andrew hit. How do you conduct a political campaign in this environment, Simon, you know, when so many people are hurting, have no power, the last thing they want to hear on television or on the radio is another attack ad?
Well, I think the president is being the president. I mean, he's out, obviously, at Red Cross and at FEMA, and he's clearly leading the recovery effort right now. And I think he has a little bit of a political advantage over Mitt Romney in the sense that Mitt Romney's just a candidate trying to talk about what's going on when the president has the advantage of actually, you know, being responsible for the recovery effort right now. And I think he's doing a good job. I think, you know, he's been praised by Republicans and Democrats alike over the last few days for having been responsive to their needs. He's going up to New Jersey with Chris Christie today to take a personal inspection of what's going on. But clearly this has changed the race a little bit. And I think at the end of the day, this will only be an advantage for Barack Obama if there's a perception that the recovery has been well handled, and it's not about pictures, it's about outcomes. And, you know, we've got 5 days to see if he does a good job. Yeah. Does the public, Mary Catherine, reach out and wrap the president in the warm embrace of a nation coming together in time of crisis?
Well, yeah, I think that this is a concern for both campaigns because any human being, and I do include politicians and those of us who pay attention to politics 24 hours a day, narrowly in that category of human beings, the main concern is the folks on the ground who are hurt and making sure they get served and get back on their feet as soon as possible in these communities. So I think that's the number one concern. And as part of that concern, it's necessary to tamp down, I think, some of the partisan tone has been soft-pedaled in the past couple of days on the Mitt Romney trail. Obama, of course, back in Washington dealing with Sandy response. And I do think there are advantages to incumbency. He can do the Red Cross tour and go up to New Jersey and do that and be seen as in charge of this situation. It does matter how well the federal government responds. I'm not sure that in 5 days you find out whether they responded well or not. But there's been a fairly decent record in Missouri, in the tornadoes of 2011. The oil spill, slightly different story. But I'm not sure that will affect the election. But I do think that people can hear these messages and the campaign can be ongoing. The other thing for Obama is that he's off the trail, where I think he's actually generally stronger than Romney is, so that might hurt him a tiny bit.
It is not an exactly perfect parallel, but something like this happened late in the campaign of 2008 when the financial crisis hit. John McCain decided to suspend his campaign. Let's take a 4-year flashback now.
Tomorrow morning, I'll suspend my campaign and return to Washington after speaking at the Clinton Global Initiative. I've spoken to Senator Obama and informed him of my decision, and I've asked him to join me. I'm calling on the President to convene a leadership meeting from both houses of Congress, including Senator Obama and myself. It's time for both parties to come together to solve.
It's my belief that this is exactly the time when the American people need to hear from the person who in approximately 40 days will be responsible for dealing with this mess. And I think that it is going to be part of the president's job to deal with more than one thing at once.
Then Senator Obama answering John McCain's call to get off of the campaign trail. It seemed like McCain's campaign never really recovered from that time away. Are there parallels here, Mary Catherine? Are there warnings for each side?
Well, I think it's, in light of those comments, it's a little ironic for folks on the left to go after Romney for being on the trail at all. I think the country is more than capable of having two conversations, caring for its citizens, and also talking about the election at the same time. I think McCain's problem was partly that he suspended the campaign and didn't seem to have a plan once he got to Washington. That was what he was roundly criticized for. But, you know, I think you do get into a situation where you're ironically politicizing by arguing that someone else is politicizing when you've had folks on the left go after Romney for having a disaster response as part of a campaign rally where people were bringing stuff and donating to Red Cross. And I just think then you get into some sticky business.
It's a long way from Florida, where Mitt Romney is now, talking about the last 4 years and these economic doldrums we've been in, Simon. The president is going to have to deal with that.
Well, he's back on the campaign trail tomorrow. I mean, he suspended his campaign in essence for 3 days and went back to his day job, which is actually being president of the United States, and has been praised again by governors and mayors of both parties for the government's response during this crisis. And obviously all of our hearts and minds go out to all the people in the afflicted areas in the United States. But I think full bore campaign tomorrow. We've got a few days left. Democrats feel really good about where we are right now. The polls in the last couple of days have been very strong for the president.
We'll see.
It's going to be a very close election. It's going to be a very close election. But I think we feel good about where things are now.
The computer's about to cut me off. Mary Catherine Ham, Simon Rosenberg. Thank you both.
Thanks, guys.